Listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Chung, and I'm the director of the EU SME Centre. Today's webinar is about how to apply lean principles to your China business, run together between the EU SME Centre and the Italian Chambers of Commerce in China. And today, our speaker, Timo, can you hear us? Is based in Shanghai.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello,
Yes,
Timo.
hello.
You can say hi to the audience. Timo is based in Shanghai and works for Staufen, who's a management consultancy for lean management, and they're based in China as well. But Timo will give a broader or a more in-depth introduction of himself just in a second. Timo, can you just flick to the next slide for me? For those that don't know about us, the EU SME Centre is a EU-funded project which helps European SMEs enter the China market by preparing them to do business here. Our key motto is about getting companies ready for the China market. And to do this, we are implemented by a consortium of 6 partners, which include the China-Britain Business Council, the BenCham, the Italian Chambers, the French Chambers, Eurochamp, and the European Chamber, as you can see here. Timo, that's great. Thanks, Timo. Now, for our webinars, we try to make things as interactive as possible. So you will see on your screens that there's a control panel. And so for anybody that wants to ask a question during the webinar, please feel free to do so in the control panel just by typing in a question. And then our staff will receive it and we'll pass it on to Timo. Okay? If you'd like to see more on our website as well, you can see the website link below. But now I'd just like to hand over to Timo, who will give the presentation on lean management in China. So over to you, Timo.
Thank you, Chris. Yes. Hello, everyone. From me also, Chris is broadcasting from Beijing. I'm sitting here in Shanghai. As Chris introduced, we are a German consultancy and have offices in Switzerland, Italy, Poland, Brazil, and Hungary. Totally around the world, it's around 200 people. Here in Shanghai, it's 35. Our main customers are exactly the target group, which is also in the European Chamber of Commerce. Here is the small, medium-sized enterprises from Germany mainly. We have some clients from Italy, also France, and here in China, some state-owned enterprises are also among the customers. It's in the beginning, it's a few, but these are largely big projects. A little bit of background about Staufen. Because we believe in what we do, the company itself holds in Germany other companies. We invested in 4 companies with around 485 people in Germany and that make around 100 million euro revenue. And in these companies we apply the same principles that we also sell in the consulting service field. A little bit about my own history. I made a summary, and until today it's 715 workshop days that I had carried out over the years. I started to work at Mercedes-Benz in Germany. There were lean-related projects. One is about TPM implementation, that's total productive maintenance in a body shop. Then there was an assignment to design the roadmap for the production system implementation at the Smart factory in that is owned by Mercedes. Then there was a quality push project for the E-Class final assembly. Maybe you remember there were some issues with the E-Class in the past about the quality, and then this project was set up and the problem solved, so to say. In the past years I spent most of my working life in Asia, 1.5 of this in Thailand, the rest in Guangzhou and Shanghai, and have since worked in the consulting field. I had a little experience of the so-called industry in Germany with Liebherr. Probably you're familiar with the company that makes construction machines, and I was there the lean director at this company with our own team, 2 people, small in-house consultancy, and this site had 600 people, and I there carried out the lean transformation practically. And a little bit about the results. Now we always are results oriented. I put together also some numbers For productivity improvement in the projects, there's work between 25 and 93%. So you can see there is a span. Sometimes you achieve some productivity improvement, sometimes a lot. This is one example of what comes out of it when you partner together with us. I think that's enough. We can talk later in the question and answer session a bit about some points if you're interested. And I would like to go into the presentation now. One more thing is the purpose. Lean is a lot about purpose, and also as a little exercise I thought about what's my purpose. And my purpose in this whole setting is to make people grow, because it's the people that achieve the results in the projects. So I draw this little picture here. Everybody has potential. Some people don't want to improve. Them you can't help. But the people that want to improve, it's a very nice experience to see them grow and achieve good results and even get promoted in their company. We have clients where the people that started to work with us as an engineer and in the end became the department manager, for example. Another example is a team leader who later became a director for production at a factory. So this is something really, really nice. That's my motivation. Then let's take a look at the basics of Lean. And I just got a note here that the connection may not be good. Can I hear something from Chris? The
it's
webinar
fine so
system just opened and said it's
from here, Timo.
experience.
We can hear you very clearly from here, and
you can hear me good? Okay.
That's right, and the slides are going through quite smoothly as well.
They are going smooth, that's fine. Then we can go on the agenda. What do we want to talk about today? We want to talk about the basics of Lean. That's point number one. What's the purpose of Lean? Then we want to look at the Staufen Lean Principles, which we call Staufen Lean Principles because after 20 years of practicing Lean implementation, we think we figured it out how it works. And you may be familiar with the Toyota production system. You may be familiar with tools out of the Lean world like Kanban or just in time. And these are pieces of the puzzle, and we think, okay, we have explored it all. Next to these methods, there's one area which is very much in fashion the last 5 years, I would say, which is the management and leadership side of Lean. And this we have, to the very last detail, figured out, understood what should be done and what not to make Lean work. To go to the third point, what works in China and what doesn't. This is to address the question from you, okay, you have your headquarter in Italy, Germany, France, and you have an operation over here, and now you want to do Lean projects here in China, and what would be the best way to do it. This is the third point. And we have a little bit of a culture agenda point here. This is the fourth one, understanding the new 3 C's, culture, context, confrontation. This is based on the classic 3 C's. Maybe you're familiar with the 3 C's. They are called concern, cause, counter, measure. This is a Lean problem-solving tool, similar to the 5 Whys. You have a concern, you look what's the cause, and then you develop a countermeasure to mitigate this problem, not necessarily to solve it completely. And this is where this is based on. To make it easier to remember, I call it the 3 C's. The concern, or is the culture. This is where it starts. If you had no concern, then they have no problem. So Lean people always like to look at what is the situation, what is the starting point. Then you have the cause, which is the context. The culture itself would not be a problem if it would not overlap or interact with another culture. This is where the context comes into place. Culture means not only the country culture, but also the company cultures. They may also develop differently in different sites. So here you have your cause, the mix of cultures, and then the countermeasure or the temporary solution, the mitigation. In this sense, I put the word in confrontation with the hint yourself. Now, how to get around this culture issue? There is only one man who can answer this question, and this is the man in the mirror. If you are on the ground here and you want to get things done, you have to adapt your approach, make it differently than you are used to in your factory in Italy, Spain, Germany. I hope I'm not missing an important European country here. Yeah. Then we have a last point. It's a brief of lean and leadership. And here, 3 R's again. Why 3 R's? Again, only to make it easier to remember. These 3 R's I will not tell you yet. They are coming then at the end of the presentation. This will last 45 minutes, and then we have a 15 minutes question and answer session.
That's right.
Okay.
But as we were mentioning before, we'd like to make this webinar as interactive as possible. And so we're going to launch a poll now just to see the background of the participants today and see how much you actually know about lean management already. So I'd be grateful if you all could just answer this question very quickly. What's your experience of or in lean implementation? Perhaps you're already in China at the moment using lean. So please answer the question. And then we'll see the experience of everybody's background.
Yeah, it's also helpful to tailor then what I will be talking about. Yeah.
And it looks like most people have a basic knowledge. I'm going to close the poll in a second. Okay, I'll close the poll now, and just to share you the results, Timo. So most people here have a basic knowledge of or an implementation experience of lean management. But there's quite a few that don't know much about lean as well. So the sharing of the basic principles, I think, will be very useful.
Okay, all right.
So back over to you.
I like this interactive part because we want to get into the conversation as much as possible during this webinar. To keep it as clear as possible, basics of lean, it always starts with the purpose. And the purpose, you have heard it before, I summarize it here on one page just to set the baseline right. It is to do work on the reduction of lead time, to get your zero defect, 100% value add, quick reaction, zero accident, 100% commitment. I want to talk a little bit about this wording. It really means zero defect. It doesn't mean high quality or best quality or right quality. The lean people are pretty rigorous, yeah, and they always want to express themselves specifically, so there's no room for interpretation. Zero defect is the goal. You may make compromises later on, but this is the starting point. Okay. Lean means to achieve more with less. This is what you see here. It is to rearrange how the work is done. It is to remove the complicated parts to make your workflow easier. We have a picture for this also because this explains the difference between the conventional focus and the focus of lean. In the conventional sense, we want to make machines faster, people work harder, and for lean this is not the case. We say keep the performance of the machine at first. Yeah. Use a normal working style and remove all the things that you are doing that don't add value from the customer's perspective.
Timo, on this slide, how do you differentiate between value adding and non-value adding activities?
Yeah. For this, the customer call helps, yeah, or to put our shoes into, or ourselves into the shoe of the customer. We step out of our own operation and go to the customer and say, what does he really want? Which function of the product is of value for him? Does he want to have the hole on the top left corner or a hole in the bottom right corner? and regarding the lean activities, only a physical change of the product property, like bending something, gluing something together, making a hole, this is considered as value add. Activities like transportation in between are not considered value add because nobody is paying for the transportation inside the factory. Defects which occur during the production process, nobody is paying for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
This
the clear
is
explanation.
the idea between, and there are actually 7 ways, probably people heard about it, 7 ways which are identified in the lean world. I can enumerate them here, it's not difficult. It's defects. The second one is overproduction, when you make too much of a thing. The third one is transportation. The fourth one is the work in process, when you have inventory, stock piles of goods in your processes. Inventory is then the fifth, which is the one which is in your warehouse, which is sitting around and you cannot sell it. And motion is the sixth waste. Motion, as opposed to transport, is of people. Transport is of parts, motion is of people. Any excess motion of people, in this sense also if you have a robot which is just moving too much, is considered waste. And the last one is the in-process waste, when you're using the wrong tool, when you use a screwdriver to hammer in a nail into the wall. This is the wrong way of doing. This is the last part of the wasteful activities. And this is the starting point to look at your production. Walk around, see the stockpiles of goods which are in between the processes, and look at them very critically and think, does my customer actually pay for this? Or is it just making my lead time very long? On another note about this waste, and to develop your eye for waste, I've put in here a picture of a blue whale. Why did I do this? As I said before, lean is not about working faster or harder. Very surprising to many. The lean workflows, they make the impression of slowness. This is because we have been conditioned to confuse hastiness with efficiency. To use this whale as a metaphor and to reset your frame of reference. Think about the most efficient systems in the world, like this blue whale or migratory bird. Have you ever seen hectic movements? Probably not. The impression of the most efficient systems is not slowness, but calmness and stability. It's not the hectic firefighting of the typical modern workplaces. If I can only bring one statement across to you today, that would be it. Sharpen your eyes. See the instability of a system. See the firefighting. And the next time you look at your colleague with a sad eye because they are stuck in broken systems and they are putting more and more work in, remember that there is a better way, a different way to get all the work done and more. Then it's time to apply lean principles. Think about efficiency, smoothness, calmness, not about pressing out and hectic and some slim or bony structure. A lean program is not a restructuring program. If your company has too much people, it requires a restructuring program. Then you need to reduce your people by 20%. Here's also an advice, probably you have heard it before, you should not mix lean program with shrinking programs. A shrinking program is one thing. After you have shrunk to a healthy size, then you apply lean. This is,
Yep, some good principles there. I think we're now moving
lean
on.
actually is a growth-oriented system, if I may say this.
I think we're moving on to our next poll now, Timo. So before we move on to the next section, we're going to launch another poll to ask you what the key aspect of lean that you're having the most challenge with at the moment, or which result of your China operation needs most improvement in terms of lean. So the poll is now open. So if you'd just like to all answer. As Timo mentioned before, there's quality, cost, delivery, safety, morale, which are the key goals of lean.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's going to be a surprising result here somehow.
Yeah, I wondered before. My guess would be quality, but this is the usual suspect.
Yes.
But we have also clients which have cost problem here, and they say, what they say, they experience that their European companies are on cost effective level, more cost effective than here.
Yep, but quality came through as the top one. But you're right. Yeah, costs was second as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an interesting
result.
Call. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of what people expect. Okay, everybody is complaining about the China quality, but you know what? The world's products are coming from here. They must do something right.
Yes.
Maybe I am a full advocate of 100% quality, absolute true. But maybe for our Western point of view, really for some settings we overachieve, yeah, with the quality requirement. Yeah. And here we have the context. Now that's what I mean with the culture context confrontation. Here in China are huge manufacturing companies of white goods, for example, refrigerators. They have become, within 5 years, the biggest in the world. And they make quite bad quality. But here in the market, no one cares. Yeah? You have a problem when you start to export this to somewhere else, yeah? To Europe, or when you have some intercompany exchange of goods, then it becomes a problem. And then you need to find a way to deal with it. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So we have the basics out of place. We want to create smoothness, stability, calmness, a workflow which is from start to finish in a steady pace. Yeah? And how to achieve this now? This is the part of the second one. There is a set of lean principles. This most famous house of lean that you all know probably is the Toyota production system. Now, this has not had the management and leadership part explicitly described in it. So Staufen took this and took a look at what else is available and put it in the mix. And here's then our Lean Principles framework. And starting point in the implementation is the sequence. What should be done first? Under each of these terms, there is a set of tools. Yeah? For example, under TACT, it's about line balancing. Then under pull, these are these Kanban systems. Yeah? And these Kanban systems, they should be installed last, not first. Yeah? This is a common mistake which is being made by companies. And it's because it looks fancy, and it should not be installed because it looks fancy.
Sorry, Timo, why put it in last?
Yeah, because the principle is flow where you can and pull where you must. Yeah.
Okay.
First, create flow between disconnected processes. That means when you have a device or some mobile phone and you need to make 5 work steps to put it together, then the first goal is to put all these 5 work steps on a 10 square meter assembly line or assembly cell and do them all in direct sequence in a one-piece flow fashion and not create any batches in between. Yeah.
So set up the process first and systematize things and then put in the pull system.
And set up. Right.
Yep.
And only what you cannot connect after really trying hard to create flow, only what is left, like often some paint processes, for example, or drying process, or some other process which is from the time it takes far away from the other times. If you have a line which has 60 seconds tact, but you have a process in it which takes 6 hours, then probably it's a good idea to make a break.
Yeah. As there's so many people that have only a basic understanding of lean principles, perhaps you could explain tact?
Mm-hmm. That is the pace for the production. In this sense, for the whole production, this is the idea to take the average customer demand. For example, when you have 600 cars that need to be made per day, and you divide this average number of cars that you need by the or you divide the time that you have by this average number of cars. So when you have 6 hours, 600 minutes divided by 600 cars, then you get out 1 minute per car, and that means every minute you must finish 1 car. Yeah, this is the heartbeat of the factory, and this is calculated from the average customer demand, which can be seasonal. This is, in the beginning it's easy, but then it becomes quite complicated. Yeah.
Sure.
But the basic idea is divide your available work time by the average number of goods you need to produce in this period. Yeah? Like
Okay.
600 minutes divided by. And here's this tact is it's the inverse of a unit per hour. So when you have unit per hour, for 60 units per hour means 1 unit per minute. So this is the reverse of it. Yeah. This is the tact. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the stability, we have the stability means you can only connect 2 things if they are reliable. So you have a process that makes 10 pieces per hour, and the next process is supposed to do also 10, but it's only making 8 and sometimes 12 and sometimes 5. It's fluctuating up and down, and then the first thing is to work to make this process stable. Because if you connect 2 processes which are unstable, then you get the hell break loose.
Yes. Great.
It's,
Now you're also going to move on to talking about just-in-time and building quality in your next slide, if that's right.
Right. So this is the sequence of implementation, and to get this working, there's a ingredient necessary, and this is here on the left-hand side. It's the respect for people and continuous improvement. There is a world of procedures behind. What does it mean? This is not only a buzzword. Yeah. Yes. Respect for people. To explain it with an example, it means to not take work away from your subordinate. Yeah? If your subordinate is having trouble to finish a task, do not take the task away from him or jump past your subordinate and make it by yourself. The respectful way is to work through your people, otherwise there is no reason to keep them in your company. Yeah. And continuous improvement. That is a mindset thing. Some people are happy with the current state. Some people are happy to sit in a race car and every round go faster and faster and faster. This mindset, this spark, you need to have or you don't have it. Yeah? There are some people which do not have it. There are some people that need a little help to have it, and there are some people that have it, and these people that have it, they are your key implementer. Also, to get to the main theme of this webinar, these key implementer you need to foster, you need to grow, you need to give them power, and then your lean implementation becomes successful. Yeah? The principles just in time and built in quality, there's also a lot behind. I won't go into the detail now. The standardized work, there's also procedures behind how to do it. And in all these principles, they are the categories where everything else is sub-categorized under. For example, maybe you heard about quick changeover and the single minute exchange of die as a tool, and this tool would be a tool inside the principle stability. The flow, a one-piece flow assembly line is inside this principle flow. The line balancing is inside the tact, and for example the Kanban system is inside the principle pull. Just in time is about your logistics, how to get the material from A to B. Built-in quality is how to design your workplace in a way that of wrongdoing is impossible. There's this tool, probably people heard about this also, Pokayoke or Pokayoke, some pronounce it in a different way. This is the error-proofing tool. So you set up a workplace in a way that it is impossible to misoperate. For example, you make a little fixture with a little pin that always orients your part in the right way. In the right way, okay. And the outcome of this is zero defects. These are the outcomes that we had before, the purpose. And I put here on top, management and leadership makes it work or not. Yeah. Even when you are very diligent and you apply these principles in your company. But the management behavior, that means all management levels, and it starts from the team leader to the CEO. If this does not support the use of these systems, then they don't work properly. Yeah?
Thanks for that, Timo. I'm looking at this process. I actually have a question. I mean, I understand most of the parts are related to operations management and processes, so I can see it's relatively straightforward to train. But when it comes to things like respect for people, how is that actually trained?
Yeah, we have there a way, or in practice we do shadow people, so we accompany people from start to finish of their workday and observe their interaction with their subordinate, colleague or supervisor, and then we give direct and immediate feedback. And we have some principles how a leader should behave in such a setting.
Okay.
One, for example, if a leader is not on time by himself, now that's a classic one, then how can he ever expect his people? Yeah.
Yes.
Another one, if a leader does not stick to what he says, or doesn't keep the promises, people notice this, and this is very bad for the culture, and then he may have problems getting discipline and commitment from his people. So this immediate feedback we give there, and by that open the eye and improve the behavior to the better. Yeah, and
yes.
There are specific ways for a lean manager how to behave. I mentioned one cardinal sin in the beginning, which is to jump past subordinates. This
right.
is very bad. Yeah. Working through people is the that is the way how to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there's a lot of other sets. So this this goes one by one. Adult education is pretty tough now, because adults, like, they can maybe remember one thing per day or improve one thing per day or one thing per week. That's already a lot. Yeah. And we work through this with every individual person involved on the adequate level. So team leader gets the, and this is then, it's not a week spending together, but it's 1 day of the week spending together, and then the next week again 1 day, and then the next week again.
Your next slides actually show how the lean principles apply in the actual work environment or within the enterprise. So perhaps you can take us through those very quickly.
Mm-hmm. We go to this because we also need to stay in for 45 minutes time.
That's right. We've got to stay within the 45.
Interesting. We have here this picture with the lean enterprise, and that means that you can apply those lean principles not only in production. You can apply them to all of your company functions. This here is R&D and innovation in the beginning, then purchasing, then production, then marketing, distribution. These levels behind that you see here, support growth, HR, for example, management and leadership processes. These are your regular communications, who is talking with whom, and what is your strategy process. This is sitting behind this blue thing in the middle. The lean people say it is the value stream. So that's as close to the actual process of value adding activities as possible, and the other layers they are behind this. And when you apply the lean principles not only in production but in the other company functions, then you can say, okay, we are building a lean enterprise. This is kind of the evolution from the past. In the past, people were only focusing to apply lean in production. Nowadays, also a lot of our clients are going into the lean field in innovation and R&D, and also in other general administrative areas.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a lean enterprise. Okay, then a little bit of basics also about the roadmap. This all takes time, of course. Here is a simplified standard roadmap. Important is the starting point, that you don't have to start in production. You start in the function where you see the highest impact. For example, it doesn't help anybody if the production is tuned to be very, very perfect if the factory is doing the wrong products and therefore going out of business. No? So if you have a problem with your product lineup, you probably should put your effort into the R&D. Also, most product costs are determined in the R&D area, so production can only fix that much. Yeah? Product costs are determined by the product design. Same applies for procurement and sales. So that's your year one. You take a pilot, 1 to 3 machines, 30 to 50 people, and then do what? Do it need-based, not tool-based. Don't say, oh, I heard a fancy, fashionable tool, and now we need to apply this tool because it sounds so exciting. Don't do it. Think about the need. Look at your company. Where is the need for improvement? And then start from there. Year one, make a pilot. Make it shine. Then year 2 and 5, skill come from practice. Follow the general implementation sequence. Stability, flow, tech, pull. After that, you can expand to other areas in your production network, so to say. This is a general roadmap. Of course, it can be adapted if you have enough manpower. You can also launch your lean transformation in 5 factories simultaneously, but then I can tell you, you have to estimate some heavy support team to get this on the road. Yeah? That's the roadmap for the lean implementation.
That's wonderful.
Hey, we have another poll coming up.
Yeah, we have a poll now.
And
after Timo's explanation just now of lean, we'd just like to ask you, in which area of your China operation do you see the need for most actions? Is it in the behavior and skills of management, for example, and of your staff? Timo's just talking about respect for people, or is it in the understanding of tools and knowledge? And so everybody's just putting in their votes now. And you can see here, Timo, that most people see the need in behavior and skills. So the softer side, I imagine, of the process.
The soft side, okay, yeah. This is.
Is that a surprise for you? I wouldn't see it as a surprise, I imagine.
Not a surprise. We see that knowledge is widespread, yet the how to do is not so widespread. Yeah? And there's a big difference. You know, you can learn how to play the piano, but if you want to achieve an expert skill, you need to practice. But the skill only comes from practice. It doesn't come from acquiring knowledge.
But when you see training and coaching, do you see most of it? It's well, from my feeling, I see most of it's aimed at tools and knowledge rather than behavior.
The coaching goes on the behavior and skill, and the training goes on the tool and knowledge. Yeah, the upload, so to say, of knowledge that works through the training. And the modern word for this is now coaching. This is about the behavior and the practice of a given knowledge to achieve a higher skill. Yeah.
But you see most of the money in this industry going towards the training side rather than the coaching side.
Yeah, there is one misperception we are also faced with. people perceive us as a training company. And then we say, that's only half of the story. We are there to implement and we are there to practice the knowledge with you together on the project with a real life and learn by doing. You know, even though this Staufen Lean Principles, that's okay. We have thought a lot about to put it together. But some other ideas you can really pick up from the internet. Nonetheless, it doesn't help you. You don't know how to do it in your daily work. And,
Sure.
this is then where we come into place.
We're now moving on to the very interesting part of the presentation, which is about how this actually works in China, from what you've seen and your experience.
Right.
So
here for,
we've got about 10 minutes left.
Yep. I saw this also on the clock. Yeah, we're here for 10 years and then now summarizing 10 years of experience.
You're going to have to be lean.
Yes, I want to be. So the first one is a classic. It is true worldwide and also here. You do a pilot first, then the rollout. You don't start everywhere a little and then feel that the naysayers and that the people who don't want it, they get more and more stronger and then stop the whole thing in the after half a year, and then it's forgotten again. So don't do this, not everywhere a little. Focus that's it. Pilot first and roll out. So, where we come to the how to do also, what works. How to do is to have a support team, regional. You need people on the ground here who do it. It doesn't help when you fly in with supposedly experts from wherever they come and then fly out and then come back 3 months later and have a look for the steering committee. That doesn't work. You need to have people on the ground here. You must not neglect communication and important the change. Effort Lean is a change endeavor because it changes the way how people are used to do their work. Then you have the support team and the line organization be responsible. It's another interesting point. Even though you need this support team, they are not the ones who are solely responsible for carrying out this project. It's your line organization. So that means the CEO on site here, the department manager, the team leader. They need to be put into the steering or behind the steering wheel.
Yep.
And the fourth one, copy, paste, and edit. This is what works. Despite the standard, Lean is very standard oriented. We love the standard, but the standard is not meant to be unchangeable. As soon as you find a better way, change it. Brilliant. The standard is a starting point. So you copy, paste, and edit. You don't just copy, paste, and wait and hope.
Yeah.
Fourth is link it to strategy, headquarter, guide. We have seen a lot of standalone programs which some local GMs, they are very strong. They can do it, push it through. But most more medium enterprises are in a matrix organization here. They have to report to different people, their regional headquarter, their Europe headquarter, and then they have some corporate function somewhere else, and this can pretty quickly get messed up. So there should be a strategy set by the CEO, CFO, CTO in the headquarter, wherever this sits in Europe, to carry out Lean. Okay, then that goes with the support team. Link it to strategy. Then what works, what doesn't. Standardize KPIs, and what doesn't work, let each site define their own KPIs. Okay, that's pretty obvious. It's common sense, but not common practice. And what works, celebrate success. Think about the Oscars. Reward improvement. Make noise. Let the other plants know. What doesn't work, let people.
Sorry, Timo, one question here is how much should the lean process be linked with bonuses to staff?
Yeah, we have seen many different ways, and the best way is to use the existing HR system, bonus system, and put the lean objectives or tasks or KPIs in there. It should not be an add-on Yeah? It should be inbuilt, and most importantly also it should not be individual rewards of individual performance, because this is against the lean culture of teamwork and team achievement. So when you have a project team that achieves a great result, give this project team a nice team dinner, or you organize some new equipment for them so that their work life is easier. So share this success and not reward individual performance.
Do you think this works less though for some departments, such as the sales departments, which are very much, you know, results orientated, and traditionally very individual results orientated?
This is true.
How would Lean work in that kind of context?
Yeah, for Lean the principle is still the same. If you can gather some kind of team reward for this, then this is preferred. Of course, for if a salesperson is working by himself alone completely and has no subordinates, no team, no nothing, then you have no other way than to reward this sales professional. But when you have a salesperson, a regional salesperson north of China, south of China, and they both eat from each other's sales cake, then you should find a way to reward them both for the real success of the whole China sales. Not reward individual. But it depends on the setting there.
Yes.
This is how I would split it. Okay. Damn, we have to speed up a little bit by talking slower. Lean is a self-sustaining system. That's a myth. It requires energy leadership. And then here, a classic. Lean in China is so different than anywhere else. There is no difference. Not in Lean. The evergreen principles apply here too. That brings us to the next point. Lean only works, quote your favorite country here. It's not true. It works everywhere. Lean is indeed a culture system for the curious. We had it. It's the system of continuous improvement and relentless pursuit of perfection. But it means company culture, not country culture. Japanese have shown it that they can, Toyota has shown it that they can export their production system to America. There was a famous plant, the Numi plant, which, by the way, as a twist in history, is nowadays making the Tesla car, which is leading the revolution in the auto industry for battery-powered vehicles. So it's an interesting side note of history, and this, in fact, is a cooperation there between Mercedes and Toyota in setting up this production of the Tesla. Now, anyhow, so company culture, not country culture. You can do it anywhere. Now, the 3 C's, I go through it briefly. I have explained it in the agenda already, and here's it now with pictures. You have your concern, dirt on the floor. Cause is there is a flap malfunctioning. The countermeasure, not necessarily the solution, is here this tray that pick up the foam. You keep this countermeasure until a better solution is put in place. Concern, cause, countermeasure. So concern is your culture. Cause is your context. Countermeasure is the confrontation. Here the hint. Ask yourself, what is the right thing to do in this setting, as opposed to in my favorite country here, we did this and that. I hear this again and again, and I'm fed up with it. I have a little example about it also on the next page here, the lean aspect and how to do. The technical side we have seen now is all the same. Now the behavior side, management, leadership, how people work together. The culture here in China is bosses are respected. This is in general very good for lean, because you want to get through the concrete heads. You want to change something, and if people are not opposed to change, that's fine. In Europe, people are more settled, they are more opposed to change. Here, they follow the boss. The problem is the subordinates, they don't speak up, which is the other side of the medal. And this is not good for improvement. In the lean world, you want people talking with each other, suggest improvements. And here comes the hint now. How do you as a person deal with it? Very popular is that people ask in such settings, who has an idea? And my advice for you would be, don't do this, but for instead ask, what is your idea, and point into one of your colleagues, subordinates, face. Yeah? And this way you take away from him the hesitance to speak up. When you're the CEO, you walk around and you cannot ask a group of team leaders, who has an idea here to improve? But you pick out one person, team leader, supervisor, department manager, go to the place of work and say, what is your idea? And this is the example of how you need to change how you're doing things in this culture context. As the time is, I think we are reaching the question and answer time. This lean and leadership and the 3 R's, they actually go into the part 2, which we may make in a month from now. I just showed a picture. It's actually very easy, and a lot of explanation then about it comes afterward. It's about the real place, it's about the real thing, and it's about the real facts. Real place means don't let people tell you in an office about what's going on. Go to where it's happening. Real thing is don't talk about with your colleague or subordinate a part problem. Go to the real site where the problem happens and observe the part over there. The third one, real facts. Visualization is great. We also do this a lot in our business. But the numbers on the board only tell you a part of the story. The full story you can always only see on site. These are the 3 R's, and I think we can go into the question and answer from here.
That's great, Timo. I think you've timed things just perfectly just then. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation on the Lean principles and how they apply in the China context. And that's actually one of my first questions about the China context. And you talked about it very briefly about the power differences in the Chinese culture, about how a boss is very much a boss and how a subordinate is a subordinate, and how on the subordinate side, them not putting forward questions actually can be a bit of a challenge for Lean. How do you overcome this in China?
Yeah. This is exactly like you described, and I want to share one anecdote out of the daily work. Some things we can do as a foreigner, some things we can't. This is also a confrontation we have to realize. And in one setting, the workshop team was just not moving. I was there with a colleague, and this colleague has a pretty strong sense, a pretty strong charisma, but in a respectful way. And with this project team, he could do what a foreigner could never do. The people ask us, can we have this template and this template and this template? And we said, you have to work it out by yourself and think about it yourself. It's not so complicated. We give you direction and you do it. And they said, no, you give it to us. And then my colleague said, you know what? That's exactly the reason why we were occupied by foreigners for so many years in the past. Because we didn't want to ourselves. And he told me this story afterwards, because I only could observe like what's happening in the room. And he said, what did you do to make them work now? And he said, yeah, you know what? That's what I told them. And you have to find your strengths from different angles. Yeah? And this angle, of course, would have never been done by an outsider. You need yeah.
Sure. We actually have another question, and it's about how common are Lean principles actually applied in China overall, from your experience?
Yeah, that from the target group, or from the target, we have mainly the small, medium-sized European companies. They're 100% know about it, 50% do some practice, 30% make more, and 10% are really here on a level which is, I don't want to say comparable, because some are here even better than in Europe. Yeah? This 10% practice extensively, and yeah.
Would you say it's mostly the larger companies that will apply it?
There is no such pattern. In fact, the large companies have very sophisticated knowledge and production systems, which smaller companies often don't have. But the smaller companies, there is a strong family-owned, small, medium-sized enterprise, and the boss himself is like a believer, then this spreads to all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
this,
Do you see many regional differences in China between the different provinces?
Regional differences. Our main business is around Shanghai. We have, let's say, 60% here, 30% in Shenyang, and then 10% down in Guangzhou. This follows the development of the economic areas here. So now we also have some projects in the hinterland here, moving to the more inside of China to Chongqing, Chengdu, and this. I mean, when you ask me about how are the people different, in fact, the people in the north, they are more tough. They like to fight more. Yeah. These are the Shenyang or the North China, but they are very sincere also. It's just they are in their dealings together. They are more rough, yeah. And around Shanghai is a bit more.
Sure. We actually have another question on your background experience as well, as you're talking about it. Is most of your experience based on Chinese companies or foreign invested enterprises?
WOFIs, foreign invested enterprise. And me personally, I was involved also in projects with state-owned enterprises, one in Qingdao and one in Shenyang. And Staufen here, when you ask for this, has from the client 60-70% is the SME, and not SME, is the WOFIs, and 20-30% is the SMEs. Yeah.
Do you get a sense that there's a growing trend of adoption of lean principles across the board, or with Chinese companies in particular?
In fact, also the reason why we are here and not in Thailand or in Cambodia or in Vietnam, because here's where the music plays. Also, here's the, I mean, we see here companies which are way advanced above their European counterparts, which are in a kind of a fairy tale mode still, yeah, and they think they can survive like this for the next 20 and 30 years, and in fact they are being overtaken on the right hand side on the highway, yeah, by their, so they are, we must say, the WOFIs here in China are very much cutting edge, I would even say. The state-owned enterprises, yeah, they are lagging behind. That's for sure. Let's say the improvement need there is very high.
Okay, Timo, we're coming up to the last few minutes. Perhaps you'd like to summarize your presentation,
yeah.
Just to close off.
This, yeah. Okay. The statement summary page here. Always start with the end in mind. Where's my need? Do I need a better product? Do I need a better quality product? Do I lower my manufacturing cost or my purchasing cost? Think about this and then think about lean. Do not start a lean program with, oh, now I want to install a one-piece flow line. It's a useful thing to do, but think about the bigger picture first. Then about the application. This is the second point also, start where the biggest need is. And what works here and what doesn't. Start with a mindset. The lean principles, they work all. And lean is a company culture, not a country culture. It may work better in certain settings. It has been proven to work all over the world. And regarding the way how to do it here,
yep.
Be aware, face the different culture. Some aspects you may not like speaking very loudly. You may not like, but sense the setting and do not be overly kind and do not be overly rough. This you have to act according to the setting. Yeah?
Yes.
Work with it. When you see that somebody attacks you, it is okay to be strong on the defense. You don't have to eat everything just because you have heard in a culture seminar that people here don't offend each other. Yeah, they do. Yeah, forget it. Yeah, it's a matter of setting. Also, on the other hand, don't be confused when you see that service people in a very bad manner. This is something else. For dealing in a company setting, it is more, let's say, respectful. Yeah? The respectless behavior amongst service people that you see, this is because service industry here has some special setting. If people buy something, they think they can get everything. Handle the salesperson in a way, in any way they want. So don't confuse this with the business setting.
Sure.
But also don't be caught off guard with a negotiation and somebody wants something. Oh, here's another tip. Never give anything for free. Yeah. If the partner comes to you with a request, always get back with, okay, I give you this, you give me that. To make a compromise which is to your disadvantages, the luxury of developed economies, which is how it's not handled here. Yeah? If you do this, people will actually be suspicious and ask, why is he not like back? Yeah.
Sure.
They will expect you to negotiate, to dance around, and it's always give and get. It's never okay. Today I give you this, and in the future you will give me that. Forget about the future, okay? That's about developed economies, yeah? It's only now, now, now. If someone wants something from you, you have to get something from him at the same time, not in some distant moment in the future.
Well, thank you very, very much, Timo, for those insights. We've unfortunately just run out of time. If anybody has any further questions for Timo, then please feel free to email the EU SME Centre and we will forward them on to him and he can help answer those. As Timo said, we will have another part to this webinar in about a month's time, and he hinted on the content on that with the 3 R's towards the end of the presentation. The next EU SME Centre, EU SME Centre webinar, though, will be on the 17th of March, and that will be on cybersecurity, so please feel free to sign up for that as well. And the last thing I would like to say is thank you very much, everybody, for joining the seminar. Thank you, Timo, for the extremely interesting presentation on lean management and how the principles are applied in China. And just as a final request to the audience, if you could just fill out the feedback form, which will appear just after we close the session. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice day in Europe, and have a nice evening if you're in China. Thank you very much, and thank you again, Timo.
Thank you, Chris.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.